Hey, pasta lovers. Are you ready to seriously step up your pasta game?
We're going deep on a dish that is truly as simple as it is delicious.
Mafaldine Cacio e Pepe.
You might be thinking, cacio e pepe, isn't that just cheese and pepper pasta?
And you would exactly be wrong, but
There's a reason why this Roman classic has stood the test of time for centuries.
we're going to unlock the secrets of this dish.
Even give it a little twist.
This is the deep dive.
What I find so fascinating about this dish is
Yeah.
how it really showcases the genius of Italian cooking.
Minimal ingredient.
Maximum flavor.
And to make things even more exciting,
Yeah.
we're swapping out the usual spaghetti or tonarelli
Okay.
for Mafaldine.
Interesting.
Have you ever seen this pasta?
How?
It's like fettuccine's cooler cousin with these gorgeous ruffled edges.
Oh, Mafaldine. Such a good choice.
It's pretty.
And those ruffled edges aren't just for looks, they actually serve a purpose.
Okay.
They give the sauce way more surface area to cling to. You get a much more intense flavor in every bite.
I am so ready for this.
We'll break it down.
All right. So first up, the star of the show,
The cheese.
Pecorino Romano cheese. We're not talking about just any old cheddar here.
Oh, no.
This is the real deal.
Real deal.
Pecorino Romano is a hard, salty sheep's milk cheese with a sharp, almost piquant flavor.
And that is really the heart and soul of Cacio Pepe.
Pecorino Romano is so essential for the authenticity of this dish.
Yes.
And its unique, robust flavor profile goes so perfectly with the richness of the pasta
Yes.
and that sharp bite of black pepper. It's incredible.
It's a flavor combination that has been enjoyed for centuries, dating back to,
Wait, hold on. Centuries.
yes, the Roman shepherds who roamed the Italian countryside.
Roman shepherds. Now that's a story I want to hear.
So picture this, right?
Yeah, right.
You've got these shepherds. They're out tending their flocks under the Italian sun.
Okay.
They only had limited supplies,
Of course.
but they knew how to really make the most of what they had.
Resourceful.
Pecorino Romano was a staple for them.
It makes sense.
It travels well, lasts for a long time. You combine that with some readily available black pepper,
Yeah.
and you've got a hearty, flavorful meal that can be cooked over an open fire.
Talk about making it work.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we've got our sharp Pecorino Romano. What else are we putting in this masterpiece?
Let's talk Parmigiano Reggiano.
Okay.
Another hard Italian cheese, but this one has a slightly different personality.
Okay, tell me more.
It brings in this nutty, slightly sweet complexity to the party
Okay.
and really rounds out the sharpness of that pecorino.
Like a dynamic duo,
Yeah.
each cheese playing its part.
Absolutely. And this is where you see that key principle of Italian cooking.
Okay.
Layering flavors from a limited number of ingredients.
Smart.
That Parmigiano Reggiano adds a depth and richness that you just wouldn't get with pecorino alone.
Okay, taking notes. And of course, we can't forget about the Pepe in Cacio e Pepe.
Of course not.
Tell me about freshly ground black pepper. Why is it so crucial for this dish?
That is a great question. It all comes down to those volatile oils
Okay.
and compounds that get released when you grind those peppercorns fresh.
Ah.
They give freshly ground pepper this vibrancy and aromatic intensity that you just don't get from the pre-ground stuff.
And it tastes different, right?
Huge difference.
That's why I always use my pepper mill when I make this dish.
It's the way to go.
Freshly ground pepper it is.
All right.
Now, I've heard that the secret to a creamy Cacio e Pepe lies in something unexpected.
What's that?
Pasta water.
You heard right.
Is that true?
That's starchy, salty water that you have left over after you cook the pasta.
Yeah.
It's like liquid gold in this recipe. It helps emulsify the cheese,
Really?
creates a smooth, velvety sauce that coats every single strand of pasta.
It's like magic.
It really is.
So we're talking Pecorino Romano, Parmigiano Reggiano, freshly ground black pepper,
Don't forget the pasta water.
and pasta water. That's it. Just 4 ingredients.
That's the beauty of it.
Wow.
Simple ingredients, expertly combined.
Amazing.
You get something truly special.
All right. Now, I am really intrigued. Let's get into the cooking process.
Okay.
We're going to cook the Mafaldine al dente, of course.
Yes.
But break it down for me. What does that actually mean?
Okay.
And why is it so important?
So al dente literally translates to the tooth in Italian.
I did not know that.
And it basically means that the pasta is cooked through,
Okay.
but it still has just a little bit of bite to it.
Okay.
For cacio e pepe, al dente pasta is key because it has a better texture.
Makes sense.
And it keeps absorbing the sauce even as it sits, so you end up with a more balanced and flavorful dish.
Interesting. So it's like the pasta is still working even after it's cooked. I like that.
Mhm.
So we've got our al dente mafaldine. What's the next step?
So while that pasta is cooking away, we're going to combine our grated cheeses,
Okay.
freshly ground black pepper in a bowl. This is where the magic really starts to happen. The aromas of the cheese and pepper start to blend,
Yeah,
giving you just a little preview of what's to come.
I can almost smell it.
Almost there.
Okay, we've got our al dente mafaldine and our cheese and pepper mixture ready to go. What happens next?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
We're going to drain that pasta, but remember to save that pasta water. It's precious.
Okay.
Then we're going to melt some butter in a large pan.
Okay.
Now, here's the trick. We're going to gradually add some of that pasta water to the pan, whisking constantly. Then slowly incorporate that cheese and pepper mixture.
Okay.
The key here is to stir constantly so you get a smooth and creamy sauce without any lumps.
Wait, why do we have to add the pasta water gradually? What's the science behind that?
It's all about controlling that sauce consistency.
Ah,
Adding it little by little lets you get that perfect creamy texture.
makes sense.
Too much water, the sauce will be too thin. Too little, it'll be clumpy.
Oh, okay.
It's a delicate dance.
Got it.
But once you master it,
Yeah.
you'll have the most incredible cacio pepe sauce you can imagine.
So gradual pasta water is key. Got it. Now for the grand finale. We toss the mafaldine in that creamy, cheesy, peppery sauce.
Make sure every strand is coated.
It sounds so simple, yet so delicious.
And that is part of its charm. You don't need a ton of ingredients or fancy techniques
Right.
to make something truly extraordinary.
And to think that this seemingly simple dish has a history going back centuries. I love how food can connect us to the past like that. Any other tips or tricks for us to make sure our cacio e pepe is a success?
Absolutely. Keep in mind that Pecorino Romano can be a little bit different in terms of saltiness.
Okay.
So before you start cooking, taste your cheese, and then you'll know how much salt to add to that pasta water.
Smart.
And another tip, invest in a good quality pepper mill. The coarseness of the pepper really does impact that final flavor.
Okay.
Experiment a little bit, find what you like best.
Great tips. I'm already feeling way more confident about tackling this dish. So we've got our ingredients, we understand the techniques, and we even know a bit about the history of cacio e pepe. What else is there to know?
Well, there's a whole world of variations
Really?
and personal touches that you can try. We'll get into that
Okay.
after a quick break.
Ooh, exciting.
But before we go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever made cacio e pepe?
Yes.
What are your favorite tips? What are your tricks?
Let us know.
Head over to our website,
Which is?
www.eateveryslice.com, or find us on social media.
Use the hashtag #EatEverySlice.
Share your cacio e pepe stories.
We love to hear them.
We love to see your creations.
Absolutely. And be sure to stay tuned for part 2,
Yes.
where we're going to dive into those exciting variations and creative twists on this classic.
Can't wait. Welcome back. I am so excited to explore the world of cacio e pepe variations with you.
Oh, me too.
It's a dish that's just ripe for personalization.
I am all ears. What kind of variations are we talking?
Well, for starters, you can play around with the Pecorino Romano that you're using.
Okay.
Did you know that Pecorino Romano from different regions of Italy actually has subtly different flavors?
No way.
Yeah. For example, Pecorino Romano from Sardinia tends to be a little milder than its counterparts from other regions.
Wow, I had no idea there could be so much variation within one type of cheese.
Yeah.
So by picking different Pecorino Romanos, you can change the sharpness and the saltiness of the dish.
Exactly. It's a great way to really fine-tune that flavor to your liking. And speaking of flavor, don't be afraid to experiment with the amount of black pepper that you use. Some people really love a subtle peppery kick, while others prefer a more robust bite. It all comes down to personal preference.
I like a good pepper kick.
It's all good.
So the type of pecorino and the amount of pepper are two ways to customize cacio e pepe.
Right.
Are there any other variations out there?
Oh, absolutely. You can get creative with the pasta water, too.
Oh, okay.
Some chefs like to add a splash of white wine to their pasta water for a little hint of acidity.
Interesting.
Other chefs, they swear by adding a little knob of butter to the pasta water along with the salt.
Butter in the pasta water. What does that do?
They say it creates a richer, silkier sauce.
I've never heard of that.
That's a fun little trick.
I like it.
And while we're talking about creamy, have you ever considered adding a touch of cream to the sauce itself?
Whoa, 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 hold on. I've heard some cacio e pepe purists say that adding cream is like the ultimate sin.
I mean, it's true that traditional Cacio e pepe only uses the cheese and the pasta water for that creamy texture.
Yeah.
But I'm also a firm believer that there's always room for experimentation in the kitchen. If you want to add a touch of cream to get the consistency you like, go for it. Make it your own.
I like that philosophy. It's not about following strict rules. It's about understanding those principles and then like adapting them to your taste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cooking should be fun. It should be joyful.
Agreed.
And that's what makes Cacio e pepe so special. It encourages you to find your own perfect balance.
All this talk about variations is making me hungry. What about toppings? What about additions? Could we add some fresh herbs? Or maybe a drizzle of olive oil?
You read my mind. A little sprinkle of chopped parsley or chives. That would add a nice pop of color and freshness to the dish.
Yeah.
And just a drizzle of good olive oil right before serving can add some richness and a little fruity aroma.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered different Pecorino Romanos, pepper variations, pasta water hacks, even the controversial cream addition, and some fresh toppings.
Right.
What other Cacio e pepe secrets are you hiding?
Okay, I have one more trick that might be a little controversial, but trust me, it is delicious. Have you ever thought about adding a touch of lemon zest to your Cacio e pepe?
Lemon zest. That is not something I have ever heard of before. I'm a little hesitant, but also very curious. What does the lemon zest do?
It adds this really bright citrusy note that kind of cuts through all that richness of the cheese and pepper.
Okay.
You get a beautiful balance of flavors, and you don't need a lot, just like a teaspoon or two of finely grated lemon zest. Add it right to the sauce with the pasta.
All right, you've convinced me. I'm going to try that lemon zest trick. It sounds like the perfect way to brighten up the dish, especially in the summer.
That's what I love about Cacio e pepe. You can enjoy it year-round, adapt it to different seasons, different moods.
You know, we've talked a lot about the technical side of Cacio e pepe, but I feel like there's something deeper to it, something almost philosophical.
Oh, tell me more.
It's like this dish embodies the idea that less is more.
I completely agree. It's like the celebration of simplicity,
Yeah.
highlighting the beauty of those high-quality ingredients without getting too complicated.
And there's a certain mindfulness to it.
Yes.
A slowing down and appreciating the process, from grinding the peppercorns to emulsifying that sauce.
Yeah.
Every step is like an invitation to be present in the moment.
I love that. It's a reminder that good food doesn't have to be fussy or complicated. It's about understanding the essence of those flavors and letting them shine.
Exactly.
And in a world that feels so rushed and overwhelming, that can be so grounding and satisfying.
It really is like a culinary medication. You get to reconnect with the simple joys of cooking and eating.
Yes.
And I think that is the true magic of Cacio e pepe.
Well said. And speaking of connecting, we want to hear about your Cacio e pepe adventures. Have you tried any of these variations?
Yes, tell us.
Do you have your own tips and tricks?
Share your experiences.
Head to our website
www.eateveryslice.com.
or find us on social media.
Hashtag #eateveryslice.
We are always eager to learn from other food enthusiasts.
Always. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Cacio e pepe, we have one last important thing to cover: the perfect pairing.
The pairing.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore the ideal wines and accompaniments to elevate your Cacio e pepe experience. Okay, pasta lovers, we've explored the history, the ingredients, the techniques, and even some exciting variations of Mafaldine Cacio e pepe.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. Now it's time to talk about the perfect pairings, because
Yes.
a dish this delicious deserves to be enjoyed with the right companions, right?
Absolutely. And when it comes to pairing cacio e pepe, it's really about finding beverages and sides that complement those rich, cheesy, and peppery notes without overwhelming the more delicate nuances of the dish.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So let's start with beverages. What kind of wine would you recommend for a Cacio e pepe feast?
Well, with that sharp saltiness of the pecorino, you need a wine with bright acidity, something to really cut through the richness. A crisp, dry white wine would be an excellent choice.
Any specific recommendations?
Definitely. A classic Italian Pinot Grigio with those lovely citrus and pear notes would pair really beautifully.
Okay.
Or, if you're feeling adventurous, you could try a Vermentino from Sardinia.
Oh, I love Vermentino.
It has a slightly more mineral-driven flavor profile, so that could be really interesting.
What about red wine? Is there a red that could hold its own against those bold flavors?
There are actually a few reds that could work. You'd want something light-bodied, with vibrant acidity and subtle fruit flavors. A chilled Lambrusco, with its refreshing effervescence, could be a really fun choice.
Lambrusco with Cacio e pepe. That's something I've never considered, but I'm kind of into it.
It's worth trying.
Now, what about for those of us who prefer a non-alcoholic option?
A refreshing Italian soda would be a great choice. Something like a San Pellegrino limonata or aranciata. The citrus notes would go so well with the dish, and the bubbles would have that nice palate cleansing effect.
Those are great suggestions. Now, let's move on to side dishes. What would you serve alongside cacio e pepe to make it a complete and satisfying meal?
I'd say keep the sides light and simple. Since cacio e pepe is already so rich and flavorful, you want something that provides contrast. A fresh green salad with a bright vinaigrette would be perfect.
Oh, I'm all about a good salad. Any other ideas?
Roasted vegetables would also be delicious.
Mhm.
Asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. The slight bitterness of those veggies would go really nicely against the creamy, cheesy pasta.
Okay, I can see that. Now, I have to admit, I do have a bit of a sweet tooth. Is there any way to incorporate something sweet into this meal?
Of course. You could finish with something simple, like fresh berries with a dollop of whipped cream or a drizzle of honey. It would be a refreshing and light way to end the meal.
Perfect. So we've covered wines, non-alcoholic beverages, salads, roasted vegetables, even a touch of sweetness for dessert. I think we've officially created the ultimate cacio e pepe experience.
I think so too. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to create their own cacio e pepe masterpieces. It's a dish that truly celebrates simple ingredients, time-honored techniques, and the pure joy of sharing a delicious meal with people you care about.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive into Mafaldine Cacio e Pepe, we want to hear from you.
We really do.
What are your favorite Cacio e Pepe pairings?
What are your secrets?
Do you have any special tips or tricks that make this dish really shine?
Share your stories, your creations, your cacio e pepe journey with us.
Head over to our website, www.eateveryslice.com, or find us on social media using hashtag EatEverySlice. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
Until next time, happy cooking.